harsh. Can that be true? Well, I want to tell you, when I found it out, that was shocking. That at a stage, I was my own worst enemy. Let me ask you the question. What would it feel like if people came up to you and put their finger in your face and said that you are your own worst enemy? I want to tell you that happened to me. I mean, what do you mean? Well, I can tell you, the answer's coming just now. Just what I was doing wrong and what I had to do to correct it. So I can also say to yourself, what if I can help you remove today the barrier that you have to go to the next level? Obviously, there's something that is holding you back. Obviously, you are you. And that is a key for when we get to the discussion of what we're going to talk about today, of why you are your own worst enemy. And also want to ask you this much, and that is that, what would it mean to you if I really can help you nail this today? Nail it so that you never make the same mistake again. Would it be worth your while to stay right on here? I think so. What if you can discover the methodology that's going to get you out of that rut? Well, I'm Dr. Anthony Patonda. I've got a PhD in leadership and management. I also have a PhD in behavioral analysis. I help people understand who they are. I help people get results in business through, who they are. It happens, Oh my gosh, here it goes. So coming back to the people thing, you first have to understand that we are on Facebook Live. So you are joined in, and it's the way it happens. So who are you? That first comes back to what kind of person you are. I want to deal with the drivers, then I'm going to deal with the influencers, then I will be dealing with, the supporters, and then I'll be dealing with the compliant people. So those 4 styles are the styles through which you basically have your problems. Now, I did a program before where I basically told you what is the emotional response, but I actually want to today take it to the next level and call it, what is the defense mechanism of these 4 different people when they basically get put in a corner? In other words, when people pressurize you, when people put you under pressure, unfortunately, the real you and the real me comes out. That is the first step to understanding that you are your own worst enemy. Because what happens to this person, the driver? He becomes difficult. What happens to the influencer? He or she becomes impossible. What happens to the supporter? The supporter becomes stubborn. And what happens to the compliant person? Well, this person becomes very critical. So in understanding that you are your own worst enemy, I don't have to tell you that when the driver becomes difficult, it becomes difficult to relate. It becomes difficult to connect. One of the key aspects in business, especially in network marketing business, is that you need to have the skill to connect with people. Many people communicate, few connect, quote unquote, Dr. John C. Maxwell. I've spent so many years with that man, and I really respect him at the highest level, but I can tell you that he made me understand that every time when I became difficult, I was basically in that emotional space where I was defaulting to who I really am. And you know what? That's when you become your own worst enemy. Imagine this poor person becoming impossible. Well, it just so happens that I've got a lovely, beautiful, stunning wife that is in this category. And yeah, she becomes impossible sometimes. And I've had to learn to say, whoa, slow down. Because you know what? We're going nowhere. And they don't want you to help fix the problem. They just want you to listen. So guys, if you're married to a person like that, don't fix it. Just listen. When you get to the supporter, well, when they get stubborn, how do you tell somebody they're stubborn that they're stubborn? Well, that of in itself is a problem. And then obviously, with the compliant, this person becomes critical. 2 ways they become critical. Number 1, critical about themselves. And number 2, critical about you. And number 3, actually critical about any business or anything. Anything they can find that is negative. So now what I want to do is to tell you what makes this worse is that each single person of us has got something holding you back. When I put my hand up, what I think of? Think of the old cars where I used to pull up the handbrake. Let's say this is the handbrake factor. Every single person has got a handbrake factor. And man, this is holding you back. That's why you become your worst enemy and I become my own worst enemy. So let's look at the driver again. What is this person's handbrake? I want to tell you it's the word pride and independence. Independence that says, I'm in my network marketing business and I don't need anybody else's help. Thank you for loves. It's great. This is live, so it's good to see you guys are engaged with me. So when the driver becomes firstly defensive, they become difficult, but now what makes it worse? That independence that says, I don't need you. Whether that's a network marketing business, whether that is a normal business, the moment you say, and I don't care how senior you are in leadership, the moment you think that you don't need other people, that you're too independent, you have just become your own worst enemy. You need to take that thing, bag it, and get rid of it. I'm going to tell you just now what are the possible actions or the possible solutions that we can look at to take this to the next level. But first, we must deal with the totality of all kinds of people that we work with. Now let's work with the influencer. What happens to the influencer that's become impossible? What is the handbrake that takes them back even further? I hate to tell you this. Ego and justification. Your ego gets in the way because you sort of like to be the main peanut in the packet. You like to be the most popular person. Remember, you like fun. You like party. You like it when you go to places where it's just great for you to be. But when you hit this justification stage in business, if people sort of say, may I objectively ask you to consider the following? You immediately justify, I did it because of A, because of B, because of C. And you start laying out the rules of why you're doing what you're doing. If you hit justification stage, you have just pulled up the handbrake in your own business because you have become your own worst enemy. Well, then what is it that we have with the supporter? Now we know that the supporter normally becomes stubborn. What happens to them? What is their handbrake? You'll never ever guess in business which one this is. They unfortunately badmouth either the person or the company. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You've just become your own worst enemy. Because bad-mouthing the other person that you're working with is supposed to be your partner. I mean, I look at my other partners where you come together and you really unite and become a unit. But when you, because you're stubborn, have gone to the next stage of pulling up that handbrake, and you now basically decide, I will tell you who you really are. But you don't tell it to the person's face because, frankly, that's not who you are. You're not a confrontational kind of person. So you tell somebody else. You know what he did? You know what she said? And it becomes a bad mouthing exercise. Not only that, the person, but sometimes also the organization. But mostly in this case, supporters, assets, in their stubbornness, they understand one thing. It's the bad mouthing of an individual. That's the handbrake that is pulling you back. Then what happens to the fourth kind of person that we deal with in business? Mr. Compliant. Remember, he became very, very critical of himself and of the business. So what was the handbrake that takes it backwards, that yanks it up right up there? It's this word, perfectionism. Because when you are trying to be too Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect, you are your own worst enemy. And right now, if you are a high compliant and you're listening to me, you're hating every moment of who I am and what I'm saying. But I want you to realize this is about a breakthrough strategy. This is about truth. This is about helping you in terms of people skills to realize we are one of these four behavioral styles. Don't put yourself on a box. But when I put you under pressure, this is what we're talking about. You become one or two of those in terms of behavior. I mean, if you're a combination of, let's take this combination, people that are task-driven, what we call a DC combination, that means you're a driver, compliant. You know what those kind of people do? Imagine being difficult and critical. Not a winning combination. Now take it a step further. Handbrake there. Independent. I don't need anybody else. I'll work in my little corner. I don't need you. Puff, puff, face. And what does the other guy do? Becomes perfectionistic. No one can live up to their standard. You know how difficult it is to work for a person where you feel that it doesn't matter what you do, it's just never, ever good enough. Well, that's when this perfection of the high compliant kicks in, and you feel that you can never do good enough. So these are basically the handbrakes. Oh, then maybe the other example. Yes, I've just given you the task-driven people. What about these two? When I talk about the influencer and the supporter, these are the people-oriented people. They don't think task first. They think people. The difference is influencer. That's an influencer on this side. Hey, left and right in reverse. Hey guys, this is impressive. Okay, this is the influencer. My son Peter, if he was watching me now, go, Dad, very proud of you. Anyway, the influencer here loves to work with a lot of people, and the supporter loves to work with people sort of by themselves, one-on-one. They are more the relationship all the time. That's what they do. So again, let's summarize those two in terms of how do they become their own worst enemy? A combination of when we get the I, that's what we said is that they become impossible, they become stubborn. Now throw the handbrake in. The I, justification, and the S, well, bad mouthing. Now justification and bad mouthing together, if you happen to be that combination, of course you have to understand you are the worst enemy that there is. You are your own worst enemy. So guys, I hope that you've been watching this today, laughing at yourself and saying, we all do default sometime to one of those behavioral styles. And it's true. I want to help you understand this in terms of the norm. When you're Mr. Nice Guy and when you're relaxed, guess what? That's not the kind of person that we basically see and we have to work with. It's very seldom. But when you do get under pressure, you will default to this behavior. I've explained the week before, the previous time when we spoke, that there's a difference between natural behavior and adaptive behavior. In adaptive behavior, you sort of mask it. You stage your performance, as I say, and you make sure that it looks to people like, I'm so happy. But I can tell you one thing, Mr. Compliant, if you ain't happy, the face is, this is basically unhappy face, happy face. Because they don't like to express their emotions. They don't like to wear it on their sleeves. That's not who they are. Because remember, your body language, that's a good thing. Maybe we can talk about body language next week. I'll keep that as a tip. Okay, so coming back to what we do today. You are your worst enemy. You've now shaken your head, you've agreed and go, all right, buddy. So is there a possible solution? Well, yes, there is. But it's very practical and it actually requires action. So let's talk about this first behavioral style, this driver. This driver that now basically has become very difficult in the circumstances. And this person is independently gone off the radar and you just don't know where they are. They don't want to work with you. Well, here is the solution to you. Do you want to basically not be your own worst enemy? You ready? Are you ready? Stop. Stop. Stop right there. Don't do it. You don't understand any other language because you need to sometimes hear stop. You know what? Because you can't see that you're on a track of basically destroying yourself, destroying the people that you're working with. Because you know what happens to this high driver? They push for the results, forgetting about the people's needs, forget that they've got families, forget that they have to eat supper. You just push and push and push, and you basically take them out of the environment where work is not fun anymore. Work is not enjoyable, but these guys don't get results. When they don't get results, they're not fulfilled. So I can just say to you, there's a little clip on counseling that Bob Newhart did once for a couple that just did not want to grow to the next level because they were both being difficult. And he said to them one thing, stop. About 5 times, stop. All I can say to you is, stop what you're doing. That means evaluate where you are, evaluate when are you in the mode where you have become your own worst enemy. Now, what about our next person, the influencer? This person that has become impossible, this person that for every single thing has now defaulted to justify. There's a justification for A or B or C that just can't help themselves. How do you solve this problem where you are your worst own enemy? Here it is. You basically have to realize who you are. What's the value that you bring? Dig deep. What drives your behavior? What drives the goodness in you? So you want to just literally, as it were, back off slightly, slow down, and just say to yourself, who am I? What value do I bring? In fact, I know that people in this behavioral style that are highly, highly effective, I'm talking about the influencer, they do daily affirmations. I mean, I laugh at my wife. In fact, it's so cute. She looks at that mirror and goes, good morning, you beautiful thing. And then I just pop up and say, yeah, that's true. You can say it. But it's true because they actually speak to themselves. They affirm who they are. So please, the moment you've defaulted to justifying all the time and you know that you've become impossible, take a deep breath, slow down, and basically say, who am I? What value do I bring? And then start talking about your value. I'm good with people, I'm fun, etc., etc. Get yourself out of that rut. Now, just a little piece of advice. Whether this person's in business or in a personal relationship, do not try to fix them. The moment you try to fix them, you're wasting your time. They have to realize by themselves something is wrong. And the only way to do it is to stay out of it. Stay out of it, and they will realize, hey, they're not talking to me. Something's wrong. And because of that realization, then the introspection, then looking at themselves. So going to the next person. How do we help the supporting kind of person? This person that was stubborn, this person that even now got so peeved off that they're bad-mouthing the person that they're working with, and in that way became their own worst enemy. So what do they do to break through to the next level? They literally have to relate to the situation and sort of say, what can I do differently? And start asking another person. In fact, because they are relationship people, it's the best thing is to go and find another person that can listen to you and that can make a difference. You want to relate to them. You want to help them and say, please go and ask advice. In fact, if you need to ask advice today, please just get the courage, because it will take courage for you. I mean, you're the kind of person that quietly lives by yourself, makes things happen, and you don't want to go next level, but I'm asking you, please go and ask advice and say, how do I get over myself? How do I relate in the situation where I actually found myself defaulting to bad-mouthing other people? And then when we get into this last person, when we get into this kind of person, the compliant person, remember, what did they do to become their own worst enemy? They became critical of themselves, nothing is good enough, and then all of a sudden, perfection will kick in and everything has to be perfected. How do they overcome that? What is the solution here? Well, there's only one solution. Because you've got a business brain, because you normally right in everything that you do, normally you're excellent in everything what you do. What you want to do is to find a win-win solution. To make that win-win solution come together for you and find a result. But this will take, obviously, time for you to move backwards. Acquiesce is the right word. Find some private space, be by yourself, and think things through. Because you realize all of a sudden, people are not as excited about you anymore. People don't really want to work with you anymore because it's just being critical or you're too perfectionistic oriented. So that orientation of driving everybody to your perfectionism drives the world crazy. That's why you've become your own worst enemy. So please, just take some time, spend time with yourself, go into your alone corner and look for what is the win-win. Now, what is the win here? Two things. You, the individual, and you in the business world. So today was all about getting yourself out of the way. I want to tell you, please be encouraged. Being a person, being a human being is human. I've got a belly button. I make mistakes. People do make mistakes. So today I was really digging in terms of when we really get it wrong. Now please, you don't live like this all the time. This may be 5% or 10% of the time when you're interacting in either your network marketing business or your normal business or even in your relationship at home. You don't live like this at all times. But this is the period where you and I have become our own worst enemy. But today we've learned it is possible to basically take that handbrake that normally holds us back, turn that into a solution, and really become victorious on top. Like that. Let me put into the screen, victorious. You want to win, because you know what? You are a winner. And if today has been helpful to you, if this can be taken down to your team members, please press the button and share it to them. Share it to the world, because you know together we really do make this world a better place. And then I want to have a special invite for all of you that are here with me every Friday with my free coaching Friday. I would like you, if you want to go next level, I'm going to introduce a methodology that's not going to be on Fridays, not at this live coaching, but it's going to be on a different date at a different time. If you want to become part of that platform and you want to know how to get engaged, and it will not take a lot of your time, will not take a lot of your money, that I can promise you, I want you to basically at the bottom put in 10. In fact, put in 10x. And when we speak again, I will give you the solution of what 10x really, really means and what it could mean for you in your life. Well, this is